Alicia Magnus Lewis here with the Los Angeles Tribune, and I have the absolute pleasure of sitting here with Antonia Van Becker and Greg Lee, the creators of CoreTalk. And we're going to get into that in a little bit because I know people are interested in learning more about CoreTalk and both of your journeys on enabling more healing in the world. Mm-hmm. But before we get there, what was your collective journey like together? Mm-hmm. And how did that shape your desire and your advocacy for working together to bring more healing to the world? And I'll start with you, Antonia.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for having us. And really, it seems like this was a big second chapter for us. We worked in Silicon Valley, we had these tech jobs, and all of a sudden, that wasn't where our hearts were. Mm. And so we got sick. We had to figure our way out of these physical ailments we had, and that's where we discovered healing and how to heal other people by being healed. And now we learn those techniques so that we can help a ton of other people heal themselves and then heal their clients.
Yeah, that's truly remarkable. And for you, Greg, what was it like to transition from the work that you were doing before to being a champion of healing? Because it is quite a contrast.
Yeah, it's really different when you step into a deeper place in yourself. And I think many times when people are going through their life and they're trying to figure out, what am I supposed to do? Why am I here? When we stepped into doing healing work, it was like, okay, we are now in the middle lane. And it was just so comfortable. And over time, and we always say healing takes time, it's that type of thing where you have to have that context of being with myself is okay. And that was really the main transition was, wow, what do I really want? Who am I? Yeah. What are my gifts that I really want to share?
Yeah. And what do I really want and who am I? Those are two questions that people ask all of the time. But you said something that was really interesting here, Greg. You said that when you started doing the healing work, you're like, I'm doing it. And oftentimes people try and figure out, like, who am I? What is my passion? What you've shared a little bit, and I'd love you to dive a little bit deeper into this, is that you tried something and then it clicked for you and then you honed in versus trying to think about, I need to know right now. Because sometimes it's not I need to know, but when you're doing it, you're in that realization of, okay, this is what I'm meant to be doing.
Yeah. I remember at 12, my dad coming home from the chiropractor and he said, Greg, could you I think she missed a little spot. And he laid down on the floor and I knew exactly where to touch him and what to do. And then that thing became difficult as we started to grow a family and felt like I needed to make a certain amount of money. I kind of lost it. Like I started with that whole journey, but I didn't feel like it was time for me to be able to step into that. And it was a little bit later in life when we had these health challenges and then saw this way to be able to move forward, really being empowered and healthy. And that's what we decided was the path that was going to really lead us into a deeper way of being and developing what we wanted in life.
Wow. So for you, Antonia, when you were growing up, did you get a glimpse of yourself in your world that you're living now, maybe in smaller doses back then, and not maybe necessarily realize that this is where you would ultimately be, but you started to kind of see examples of your beingness in healing kind of show up in life?
Mm-hmm. Totally. Although in a different way as well, right? I mean, I could always see things in the future. I could see lost things. I could find things. But what I was seeing wasn't always what was happening inside of me, right? So I had this vision, I had intuition, I knew a lot of things. But what I realized as I went along is that I didn't always know what was manifesting in my body and outward, like the physical condition and stuff like that. And so that was really the growing edge, is how do you connect this intuition that you have into being on this physical world in this body and taking care and tapping into our inner wisdom so that we can use that inner wisdom to keep our body going and to keep ourselves healthy and to then move out into the world with a bigger impact. And so that was that beautiful transition from and using that intuition even more now, where I can see, and people, we talk to bodies. So their bodies tell us these stories, and we can relate them back to them so that they can see where they need to heal. So it's like coming full circle from knowing the intuition, but then saying, oh, I got to ground this in my physical body. And now that that's happened, it's like, oh, the whole circle of being able to see what I need, then going out and seeing what other people need and how they can then help themselves and have them help other people as well.
That's truly special. So I'm curious here, Antonia. You said that you kind of had some natural abilities as you were growing up. You worked in the corporate world in Silicon Valley. Did you find that your gifts had a way of showing up in the corporate world, and in what ways? Because there are definitely people there that are out there that work in corporate that are truly gifted, and they may not understand, but they might be, I'm really good at what I do, and that's just the way I am. But could you share a little bit of insights there? Because I think that would help a lot of people.
It was so funny, and I didn't even realize it until afterwards. I was a manager of an internal training, technical training, and so all engineers around everywhere, but I had more of a creative group, or the writers and the instructional designers and stuff like that. But what I realized what I was doing was also I would get a lot of people that didn't fit in other departments, and they would give them to my department. And so then I had this group of people, and they weren't necessarily exactly where they wanted to be, and we would have one-on-ones every week, right? And so in the one-on-ones, I'd say, what do you really want to do? And then we would, of course, they would have their job, and we would help them, do the best at their job. But also it's like, what do you want to do in 5 years? And I helped a lot of people. One woman, started her own bakery. Another woman became a ceramic artist. Another went freelance and did a whole bunch of technical editing, so it was always helping people move into their dreams, which is exactly what we do right now. In a different way. That's like, oh my gosh, I was doing that back then. I can't believe it.
And now you found a way to do it in a way that is aligned more with what you're trying to do, but you've always had it. So for you, Greg, when you think about the work that you do now at CoreTalk, what is it that you really want people to know? Is the first question here. And then how can people be supported in their healing journey to understand? Because you said it earlier, it's not like you're healed today and fine tomorrow. It is a journey. So how can people kind of acclimate to the fact that it's an experience? Like, healing is not just a one time, but it is an experience that evolves over time.
You asked, what do you need to know? What I love to tell people, and to really demonstrate through working with them, is that everything that they need to know, they've already got that knowledge. And that their body is this incredible vessel of the experiences that they've had in life. And by referencing and tapping into that, as Antonia said, into this innate wisdom that we have about ourselves, that's where the answers are. All we have to do, and this is what we teach, is ask questions to our body to allow it to bring up. Because when we have this openness and this curiosity and this empathy and compassion for ourselves to say, what's really best for me? Then our body will lead the way. We just ask the question.
And then it's just guided. What about for you, Antonia?
Well, and that's the exact same idea, is looking at what is really right for you and listening and being able to then, and when we talk to bodies, we find out what's in there that isn't you or that you're done with, and we can clear out all of those toxic emotions or generational trauma, all of those things that either you don't need anymore or the energy from other people, clearing all that out makes it so that then you're able to present yourself and be yourself right here, right now, so that the whole world can see in your eyes your beautiful gifts, your personality, and say, oh my gosh, it's you that I want, and be drawn to that. And that's what we love to bring out and help other people come out into the world, is that being themselves, shining their light, and coming out to serve in the world and help this world heal and become stronger and more courageous, more curious as we go through life, really.
That's so beautiful. And the two of you, you're so in sync. You're so in flow. What has the experience been like working together? Go with you, Greg.
Antonia and I, we've been together for a long time. We met in 1979. We immediately had this connection that was beyond having to know each other or having to be comfortable. It just was. So as we moved into this really different part of our life where we started working closely together all the time, of course there's challenges that come up with a couple, and being with somebody, that reflection of yourself, and when you say things that are not in the context of your best interest or whatever it might be, Antonia she has just blessed me so much with that mirror so that I can see, oh, do I really want to be that way or say that? So that's been a gift in itself. Then the actual work when we're working with people is it's such a pleasure because we get to work together. So we literally are co-practitioner for the practitioner and practitioner for the co-practitioner as we're working, because we work 2-on-1.
Yeah.
And we teach our people how to work 1-on-1 also, but it's just a special thing when we get to work together all the time.
Yeah, and it's complementary. So how have you found that both of your unique gifts have come together to kind of complement each other with the work that you do with practitioners?
It's been so interesting and such, it's so personal how we are. And it's all about feeling people's energy and feeling like for me, I tend to, and in the past, I've tended to kind of be more airy and stuff. And so I really focus with Greg being very grounded. And so in that way, that team energy is very helpful to even each other out, right? Yeah. And so when we call it the energetic fingerprint, and how everyone works energetically, how your energy is, do you reach out? Do you bring things to you? And that's part of what we teach people is, what do you do? How do you use your own energy? Yeah. And what might you improve on if you're putting too much energy out there, as a lot of healers do, right? And you maybe need to keep your energy for yourself so that you're taking care of yourself first, right? Or maybe if you're sucking in too much energy, oh, no, I gotta make sure. And so that's something that over the years also, it's like, there's a lot of water under that bridge for all these years that we've been together. So we've done a lot of things, been through so much. And so we're constantly going, oh, that's so interesting. Yeah. I think that's not exactly the way I want it. I think that, we're going to have a different energetic relationship as well as how we talk to each other. And because we talk to bodies and teach people how to talk to bodies, we've learned that, wow, how you say stuff is so important, right? I mean, it's really... what you put out into the world is your message, is what goes out, and then ultimately what comes back to you.
Words matter. How you use them matters more. Right? And the epitome of a dynamic duo. So because you work with other individuals, you teach them how to help support people in healing journeys, you also heal people. What are ways that you pour into yourself, because you are always helping and aiding and guiding other individuals, so you have that vitality and that energy to really continue down your path?
Yeah. Well, daily meditation, daily walking, daily quiet time, as well as, we've been doing karate, and
Really?
I got my black belt in karate.
Congratulations.
Last year, so there's a lot of, internal practice there, a lot of mindset and just fortitude, really. So really getting strong mind, body, and spirit.
With intentionality.
Yes.
Yeah. What about for you, Greg?
Working with, as far as personally, Antonia and I are kind of like, the twin flames, where we do almost everything together. So we wake up in the morning, we meditate, we go for a walk together. Our kind of time when we're separate from each other, which is very important, is when we're working with our clients. So in our group coaching sessions, we love to do one-on-many with them, because then they can see what it would be like for them to work with a group or with an individual.
Yeah.
So much of our coaching is done, and it gives us that sense of, I can do this by myself if I needed to. We're powerful together, but for people to see us working one-on-many or one-on-one, they get to see that thing of, wow, it looks simple what they do. If I just kind of practice and let them lead the way and show me how to do this, I could do that too.
Yeah, that's fascinating. And for you, so what is the client experience like? Because you do group coaching, you do one-on-one, sometimes you work together, at times you work one-on-one with someone else. What is that client experience like?
So in almost everything that we do, even if we have a group, we will often take people individually so that they can have that healing experience. And so the first thing that happens is, they say, well, they ask themselves, what do I want to heal? And what do you want to work on? What do you want to heal? And they tell us, it could be a sore shoulder, it could be, a problem with a relationship. And then we just start talking to their body. And so we'll ask their body, are you here? Are you all alone in your auric field? And get those answers either through muscle testing or muscle testing each other. And often the body will want to go back to a certain age, right? And so all of a sudden we're saying, well, what happened at 7? What?
People go, whoa, how
And
did you
they're
know
like,
that?
exactly, they're like, oh my God, I haven't thought about
7.
that in so long, right? And then they'll rattle off some, a lot of times something traumatic that happened, and we're like, oh, okay. And then we keep talking to their body and say, oh, body, is that what you want to talk about? Is this the core issue? And all the time they're like, whoa. And then we ask the body, are you upset about that? Are you really scared? And then we trace meridians and clear chakras, cords from chakras, and clear the energy. And then they're like, oh, I felt that.
Feel lighter.
Yeah,
Right,
and
right.
and sometimes they can feel like a quickening. And then after the whole, when we usually clear several meridians and clear other psychic manipulations, shrouds and shock and cords and such, and then after they're all like, that pain the pain is gone. Or, oh, I feel like I could rest. And so it is
peacefulness.
And also the lightness, like you said.
lightness.
They're like, oh, the weight is off my shoulders. And then we do a bunch of free healing for people to get to know us. And on the last call, somebody was on there that we hadn't seen for a couple of years.
Wow.
Right, and she came back and she said, when you did that healing on my shoulder, and I didn't know why my shoulder was hurting. She said, it hasn't hurt since
Wow,
then.
that's beautiful.
And I was like, oh my gosh, that's so great.
That's what you want to hear. So
Right.
you're both in the upcoming film produced by the Los Angeles Tribune, The Pillars of Power. Antonia, I'm going to ask you, what was it about the film that made you want to be a part of the film? And then Greg, I'm going to follow up with you about what is the message that you want people to understand from your presence in the film? So Antonia, I'll start with you.
Well, the whole idea of power and the concept that it's not, that big concept of power and strength and might and, conquest over the world. It's about power in here, and the power that each of us have for ourselves and to bring our power and strength and gifts into the world so that we really feel that, we develop that power knowing that we can heal ourselves, we can heal other people, and we can bring this throughout the world, that internal power, turning that spigot on, that's what we want to do.
Oh, and for you, Greg, what is the message that you want people to be aware about when they watch the film Pillars of Power?
When we're young, we have dreams. And as we get into school and we graduate and we're thinking about, what am I supposed to do? What type of job? How do I want to be? Sometimes those dreams, they kind of move into areas of I need to do this, or I should be like this. And what we really want people to know when they think about the pillars of power within themselves are, I can do whatever I want.
Yes.
And being able to create that vision takes time sometimes to create clarity of what's really best for me.
Yeah.
What do I love to do? How do I want to feel? So as we really embark on this journey, with all these healers and incredible people in the Pillars of Power, I think what really our message is, look at what result you want to get, and then do not give up on that. Allow yourself to find a way to do what's really best for you so that you can be full of yourself.
I love that. Is there anything you'd like to add to that?
Well, that's our upcoming book.
I love that.
Be full of yourself.
Be full of yourself. And in 3 sentences, Antonia, how would you summarize the intention behind the book, Be Full of Yourself?
Filling yourself up with everything that is naturally you, your talents, your gifts, your idiosyncratic parts of yourself. When you fill yourself up with that, get rid of everything else that isn't you or that is old and outdated, then you become that beautiful light that shines into the world, that people see and will be attracted to, and that you manifest your greatness into the world.
Oh, I love that. Be full of yourself. Be full of yourself. Yes, you matter. Be full of yourself. It's been amazing speaking to you both today. As we come to a close, would love for you to share any remarks that you have on your heart, a message that you'd really like people to be aware about.
Be here right now. Be in the present moment. Share from yourself authentically, right in the moment, how you're feeling. And that's when the love happens. That's when the healing happens. That's when the joy happens.
Yeah, I love that. What about for you, Greg?
Where do you feel most vulnerable? The areas in your life that would be, or maybe feel just so difficult to share? When you develop compassion about what happened in those times and how you feel about that, and when you start to heal that, that actually becomes your superpower, your super story, your relational way of being able to tell people, here I am, this is me, and I'm okay, just the way I am.
That's so wonderful. It's been an absolute pleasure sitting here with Antonia and Greg that are going to be featured experts in the Los Angeles Tribune film, The Pillars of Power. They're coming out with their book, Be Full of Yourself. It's a reminder that you matter. Be full of yourself because you're important. And healing is key to anything that you do in this life. Until next time, thank you.